Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Murphy from the Upton Town Library. It's March, so it's time to take a look at what's been added to our children's and young adult collections over the past month here at the library. Let's take a look. So let's start where we always start, with the board books. We've got our newest ones here. We've got a new one for St. Patrick's Day, one of those baby's first books that we've talked about before, and you can see on the back there are some other titles in this collection. So pretty much if there's a holiday you're looking for or a special day, there's a DK Baby's First book for it, so that's here. It's got our St. Patrick's Day sticker on it, so it'll only be out for a short time here. We've got one of the Jill McDonald books, Cars and Trucks, and again, she's written a whole series of titles, nonfiction for the little ones, and I simply love these books. So let me show you a little bit inside. They're bright, they're colorful, just a little bit of text, some captions. There we go. Really fun to read. We've got a new one from Grace Lynn called The Last Marshmallow. This is part of a STEM series for babies, and you can see the other ones. We've got this one right here by Grace Lynn, so we've got 2 of the 4 titles, and it's really well done. And last but not least, we've got Dogs, 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 I Love Them All by Chad Guerin. Perfect for kids who love dogs, all the different kinds. And it's rhyming too, so just another book to check out in our board books. We've still got our winter books out. These will be replaced by spring books soon, so be looking for those board books in this area. Just a quick peek at the parenting collection. Not much new over here this month. We've still got our book, Catching Thoughts, which was new to the collection, and we've got lots of topics covered. So again, these are picture books that are great to share one-on-one with your kids about different kinds of topics, such as autism, potty training, pregnancy, maybe a death of a pet, and so on. So if you're looking for topics like that and you don't see what you're looking for in our collection, be sure to ask, because we do know what's available in our CW Mars network. New easy readers are up here, so let's take a look. I'm going to just take them down so you can see them all. We've got these new oversized easy reader choices. This one's called Cat Likes Red, so let me just show you a little bit what the inside looks like. These are part of the I Like to Read series. So very simple text, lots in the pictures to talk about for the earliest of readers. On and on with different colors. Okay, so that's Cat Likes Red. We've got another one from last month, Snow is Fun. And then we've got our regular sized easy readers, Pajama Day, Eats a Pig, which is a fun rhyming story. I think this one was from last month, The Bug in the Bog, as was this one, Nick and Knack Put on a Puppet Show. This is part of a series of these characters. The next book is a nonfiction take on easy readers, kind of a nonfiction slash fiction book, I Want to Be a Teacher by Laura Driscoll. We've got several of her books in our collection, and these are all about different occupations. So I know we have one about being a pilot, about being a veterinarian, I think, and so on. So this is the latest addition to our collection for that. If you haven't heard of King and Kayla, they're a nice duo who solves mysteries. This is called King and Kayla and the Case of the Gold Ring. This is by Dory Hillestad Butler, so this is the newest one. We add mystery stickers to our mystery books. Let's see what else we have, and that's it. So those are our new easy readers, and you can look for those right at the top. So here we are at everyone's favorite section, the picture book collection. So let's take a look at what we've got. We've got a new book, which is a biography. So you can see that green biography label right there. That's because this is a picture book biography. Sometimes we add our biographies to the juvenile biography collection, and sometimes if they're picture book form, we might add them to our picture book collection, depending on where we feel it fits best. So this one is called Opening the Road, Victor Hugo Green and his Green Book. So if you're familiar with the movie Green Book that came out a few years ago, this is a picture book all about the gentleman who wrote the Green Book, who put it together. And the Green Book is was rather, a book that Black Americans were able to use to help them travel safely through the country. I believe the last issue of it was 1967. I read this book, I can't remember, but good to know we don't need things like that anymore. Barbie, everyone's favorite character. Barbie has a 5-minute storybook that we've added to our picture book collection. It is under B for Barbie. So you can see it's got, let's see if I can find you the chapters page. 6 different stories inside. So your kids, you could read with them a chapter a night, chapter every couple days, and it's just got great pictures and short stories you can read. So they are 5-minute stories. And we've got a couple of these books in our collection. We've got a Star Wars one and a Thomas one. Kids seem to like those. This was from last month, Quiet Down, Loud Town. So about an elephant who hates the noise but realizes he needs it. We'll move on. A couple more picture books that are not new this month, but they've come home from circulating, so it's like they're new again. Brenda is a Sheep, all about a wolf disguised as a sheep. A really funny book to read together. Butts are everywhere, because who doesn't like a good book about butts? And a fractured fairy tale called Ninja Red Riding Hood. A fractured fairy tale is when you get a fairy tale that is made into a different version. So this is called Ninja Red Riding Hood. All about a ninja version with Red and the wolf. Our seasonal shelf is here in between. And we've got St. Patrick's Day books here right now. So it says Find Your Treasure in a Book. Soon we'll probably change this up with either Easter books, Passover books, spring books, something else seasonal that works from our collection. We tilt up, there we go. I think a couple of these aren't new this past month, but I'll mention them again. A Real Friend, all about 2 boys who kind of grow tired of each other but realize they actually miss each other. Grace and Box is one of my new favorite picture books, because who has kids that love playing with boxes? If you do, this is the book for you, because it gives great ideas of what you can make with a box. I'll just show you some of the pictures. Really colorful, really, really beautiful illustrations in here. And it starts with a girl getting a refrigerator box, the best box of all. You can do so many things, and she creates rockets and a house. And let's see what else she creates. Something fun. Oh, here's a submarine she makes. So this is really a fun one. It might give you some inspiration of some things your kids could make with a box. April Polissaire has Best in Snow. This is new from, I think, a month or 2 ago. We tend to add a lot of her books. I like them for the nonfiction element of them. And it just gives great pictures in a nonfiction format. And next, we've got our last shelf here. We'll move over. Bunny Figures It Out. This is a fun book all about a bunny who makes a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but she has no jelly, so she has to learn how to make peanut butter and jelly. Can you guess where she might find information about how to make jelly? I wonder what place she could find a book about that. If You Come to Earth by Sophie Blackall, Caldecott winner from a couple years ago, and this has got really great pictures to share one-on-one. And the book Eric by Sean Tan, which I believe was from a month or 2 ago. So I'm going to pause our video and I'm going to go over to the circulation area, because we have a couple more picture books that are being processed, so we want to take a peek at those too. So I'm over here at the circulation area where all the action happens behind the scenes, and we've got some books that are ready for the circulation staff to put covers on and make sure they're ready with their new stickers for patrons to check out. So we've got a couple more picture books I want to tell you about. This one is going into our parenting collection. It's called Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away, and it's all about a little girl who's moving. So this pertains to moving. If you have kids who have moved, kids who have friends who have moved, this is a great book. We also have it in Spanish in our Spanish collection, and that was sent to us through our Junior Library Guild company. So this is Evelyn Del Rey is Moving Away by the author Meg Medina. And it's got some really great pictures really telling about what it's like when someone moves. So we've got that one. We've got this one called Bird Hugs, all about a bird who has those super long arms and can't fly. So the bird has to learn what else it can do with its arms, and you can tell right here what it learns to do. Give great hugs, bird hugs. So that's another one we've got. Magnificent Homespun Brown, a celebration. And this one has just almost like poetry. I don't think it's poetry, but it describes all the different shades of brown. So this one is Deep Secret Brown, like the subtly churning river currents, playfully beckoning me through my grandmother's kitchen window, winding steadily past banks of tall grass and wild rose bushes, carrying miles of life and endless possibility on their never-ending journey to the sea. Deep Secret Brown, like my eyes. And it goes through color by color, and it compares to the children. So it's a really nice one. And we've got a book called Lift. This is by Min Lei, illustrated by Dan Santat, Caldecott medalist, and it's all about this secret adventure that happens to this little girl and her family when their lift or their elevator goes out of service, and it turns into a magical fantasy story about an elevator. And this one is another one of my favorite books that we've added, called Books Big Adventure. And this is written by Adam Lehrhaupt. It's all about basically like the life cycle of a book. What happens to a book once it's done with its job at a library and it gets added to a book sale, and then it gets bought by someone and has a new life all over again. So it reminded me of our Friends book sales that we have here at the library, of which they're going to be having a spring one, so we're waiting for the date for that. So those are our newest picture books. Here we are at the juvenile fiction section, which are our chapter books, not quite novels, but harder than easy readers, so that's kind of where we are at, an elementary reading level. So we've got a historical fiction book, Maria and the Plague, a Black Death survival story. And we've got, I think, at least one other from this series. Let's see, other ones on the back here. I think we might be adding the Molly and the Twin Towers one soon. But if you have kids that like historical fiction, this is a nice choice for them. If you have kids that like those I Survived books, that's another great option. The Sword in the Stone, so part of the King Arthur series. Skunk and Badger was sent to us by our Junior Library Guild, selection by them. But if you have kids that like stories about little animal characters, that is a great choice. Let's see what else we have here. I'm going to pull them all out, go through one by one. Starla Jean. This was sent to us. Which came first, the chicken or the friendship? A long road on a short day. Henry Heckelbeck and the Race Car Derby. If you have kids who are Cub Scouts and they like those Pinewood Derby cars, they might like this story. A humorous book about Iggy. Iggy is Better Than Ever. Kondo and Kazumi Visit Giant Island. There are other books by this author. The author is David Goodner, so look for other Kondo and Kazumi books if your kids like that. The Jasmine Green Rescue series, A Kitten Called Holly. This was new, I think, last month. We've got a couple of those in our collection. Lola Levine Is Not Mean. It's another series. SOS, Society of Substitutes, The Great Escape. Kind of an adventure story. Trouble at Table 5 is another series about these characters. This one is called I Can't Feel My Feet. This is by Tom Watson. And Duck Days by Sarah Leach. So those are our new juvenile fiction chapter books. Here we are at the preteen fiction section with our newest additions here. So let me show you. We've got this one that was new last month, Muffled, about a girl who has sensitivity to hearing. So kind of a clever cover for that one. Indian No More won an award a few years ago. So this is written by Charlene Willing McManus. Told a bit of a historical fiction story. And some of these were from last month, so let's just go through them. Sci-fi, The Lion of Mars, Jennifer Holm. The James Patterson humor book. Can always count on those for laughs. Middle school field trip fiasco. So this is part of that middle school series he writes. This one, Time of Green Magic. We've got other books by Hilary McKay in our collection too. It's Todd Strasser's The Good War. Let me just read you a little bit of the description on this one. It's about an after-school club, middle school, starting a club, teacher starting a club for students to play The Good War, a video game based on World War II. So, sounds a little bit interesting. Distress Signal. This is going to be an upcoming kids book club pick for us in another month or two, I believe. So, An Adventure Story by Mary Lambert. Winter. Out in the Wild. This one was from last month as well. Again, books come and go, so sometimes they're not on our shelf when we do our filming. This one is a newer one from Junior Library Guild, all about a girl who has autism, and it's told through her perspective because she has the inability to speak. So we learn the story through her eyes. And A Pinch of Magic. So those are our newest additions to the preteen fiction collection. So we're at the back of the library now near our Spanish collection and our series books, so let me show you what we have. We have a new one called Evelyn Del Rey Se Muda, all about a little girl named Evelyn Del Rey who moves, and we're actually adding the English version of this to our parenting collection. So if your child has a friend who moved, or maybe you're moving, that would be a great book to share with them. So let's see, we've got this one from, I think, a couple months ago, graphic novel about Cece. This is a series. We've got this one book about her. This came to us through Junior Library Guild. Not much else new in the Spanish collection, so we're going to go over to the graphic novels. Pull you right on over, right next door, and let's see what we've got. Cat Kid. This has come back to us. It's been circulating, so Cat Kid Comic Club from Dave Pilkey. This is a book by Varian Johnson and Shannon Wright called Twins. It's been getting a lot of buzz in the graphic novel industry this past year, so check that one out. We've got a science comics about rocks and minerals. Those are always fun for a little nonfiction. And these were from last month. So, something by Dan Gutman, Ted Arnold. You might know those authors. Ted Arnold is the author of all those Fly Guy books, so if the illustrations look a little familiar. We've got our Happy Narwhalidays from the Narwhal and Jelly books. And then this one is Simon & Chester Super Detectives. So let me show you a little bit about that one. It's on the lower reading level. So if you have kids just getting into graphic novels, it might be a good one. And then, let's see what else we've got. Not much else new back here, but this is where we keep our, down here, our I Survived series. We've got 39 clues down at the bottom. Go back so you can see. So when we do reopen for browsing, this is where you'll find things like Star Wars, superheroes, you choose, 39 clues, and the I Survived. We've also got some princess and fairy books down there on the other side. And the American Girl books are down there too. Small collections of both of those. So now we're at the nonfiction collection. Let me straighten my camera out a little bit. There we go. And we'll show you what we've got. This one was from last month, Kids Fight Plastic. So an environmental type book. Find this in the 363s in our collection. This one is from early last year, Just Breathe. I just threw that up there because who doesn't need a little more mindfulness in their life right now during this pandemic? If you know Seymour Simon, he writes a lot of those great nonfiction books. This is his latest, Climate Action. I'll show you a little bit inside of that book. So what's kind of been going on in the world, things you can do. So That is his latest. Sky Gazing, I believe, was new last month, along with the Bill Nye book, and Habitats, and Weather. We're getting ready to put some new nonfiction out soon. So let's take a walk around the side. Don't forget, once we start browsing in the library, we've got the juvenile magazines down here, so don't forget about those. Those are updated every month. Sue Pfeiffer, our librarian, is in charge of this collection. So she's the one that processes and catalogs all the Cricket magazines. We've got Cricket, which is literary adventures. You can always find the newest date here on the corner. We've got Faces. So this looks like Making Games Fair, something about the Olympics maybe. Another one from the Cricket Company is Muse, more of a scientific magazine. If you remember Boys Life, they've changed it to be more inclusive, calling it Scout Life. So it's always been for all Scouts, but now the title backs it up. Let's see, Ranger Rick Jr. If you love animals, you can't go wrong with this magazine. Or National Geographic Kids. This was always a favorite of my kids when they were young. So let me just show you a little bit inside what you might find. These are great for your reluctant readers, or if you're just looking for something easier to read. If you don't feel like reading a novel, something easy to pick up and put down. I know I find that with myself. When I'm not ready to read a novel, I pick something a little bit lighter to read. Scooby-Doo. This looks like last year, so it looks like we're due for a new issue. Or from a couple years ago, rather. Insect World. Oh, Mrs. Murphy's least favorite topic, insects. But we do have lots on that topic in our collection. So be sure to check out magazines, because they're always a great choice. Let's go around to the other side of our nonfiction. Taking a little ride. Book about forests. Steve Jenkins, I don't know if we talked about this book last month, but this is by Steve Jenkins and Robin Page. Steve Jenkins does a lot of picture books in a nonfiction way for kids, so you'll recognize his illustrations right away. So if you haven't seen his books, be sure to look for this author. Really, really fun to read. Raising a Fish, I think we talked about that. This one here has been circulating for a while. This has been added in December, was added in December. Everyday Workings of Machines. So lots of captions and diagrams, things with labels, lots of things to check out in this book. Really fun. I know we talked about this one last month, How We Got to the Moon, kind of a denser book to check out. And Bionic Bodies we did, Modern Art Explorer, and My Wildlife. I know we mentioned those. So let's move down a little bit past the Who Was books. Lots of those. Remember, if you don't find who you're looking for here, just ask or search the catalog. If we don't have it, another library should. This is a poetry book I was kind of excited about by Jack Perlutsky. He's one of my favorite poets. He reminds me a lot of Shel Silverstein in a way, but some of his poems here to check out. So be sure to look for that one. Very exciting. Snowbirds we added last month, a nonfiction book, poetry about birds. So instead of putting this in our winter picture book collection, we put it in the poetry collection so we can stay out year round. Book about awesome Asian Americans, 20 stars who made America amazing. So you might find some people in there that you know about. The Pig War we added last month. We're gonna turn around. And I'm gonna move back so you can see all the way up there. This has been added, let's see when this was added. You can always check for the date on the inside. So this was December we added this one. Not a super new book, but we did not have a book about George Lucas, so we added that. One of the Trailblazers series. This is about J.K. Rowling. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Trailblazers series, but there are several of them. We have a couple in our collection, and they're just really well done levels of biographies for kids. So you can kind of see that there. Some illustrations along with information. Book next to it about Patrick Mahomes, excuse me. That was sent to us through Junior Library Guild. Up above, We have a picture book about Melville Dewey. The newest one came to us from Junior Library Guild about the oldest student, how Mary Walker learned to read. She was in her hundreds when she learned to read. So this is a picture book illustrated by Ojimura. So you might know him from other picture books. There we go. So let me see if I can find in the book how old she was. It tells 116. At age 116, Mary Walker learned to read. So really an interesting book. And we have our Civil War book up there about blood and germs. So those are all of our nonfiction books. Here we are at the young adult section with our new titles. So we've got a fantasy book here, Master of One. This has been circulating for a while, so it's finally come back to us. This came out, let's see, late last year. So we added this in December, but it's been circulating. Early Departures by Justin A. Reynolds. That's an author you might recognize in the young adult novel world. And then let's see what else we've got up here. So we'll tilt over. Camino Club. The Camino Club by Kevin Craig. We've got a thriller type book, The Initial Insult. David Yoon. Super Fake Love Song. He's the author of Frankly in Love. Fun fact, he's married to Nicola Yoon. I believe that's her name, Nicola Yoon. She wrote the story Everything, Everything, so they are related. A thriller, mystery thriller, What She Found in the Woods. Story about Syrian refugees, Displaced by Dean Hughes. Sequel to Dear Martin is Dear Justice. This is, Dear Martin was on the Nipmuc summer reading list, I believe, this past summer. Hush by Dylan Farrow, fantasy story. This has been circulating for a while. We added this in October and it's finally back. So we're gonna leave this on our new shelf for a little bit longer so people can find it. And a new version of The Westing Game. This is one we just replaced with a new fresh copy. Our copy was really old and dated, so we wanted something with a fresh, interesting looking cover to possibly find some new readers. If we flip around on the other side, we've got our graphic novels. So let's see what we have here. We still have Class Act up here by Jerry Craft, the sequel to New Kid. Won the Newbery Award, I believe, a year ago, 2 years. Fangirl, which is by Rainbow Rowell. She's a popular young adult author, so that's a graphic novel by her. Oh My Gods. Story about Greek mythology in a graphic novel form. This is by Stephanie Cook. Above, tilt up, a book added by our director, Matthew. A story called Maids by Katie Skelly. You can see this one's been circulating a while. The new sticker is very worn, so Matthew added that one and it was a hit and it's been out and it's back now. We've got Jason Reynolds' book, Long Way Down. This is the graphic novel of his preteen novel. Next to that, we have Go With the Flow, and a story about middle school kids, I believe, or high school kids who took activism to a new level about periods. So that is, an interesting one to read. And then below that, we've got House of L by Claudia Gray. Whoop, there we go. This is book 1 of a series. And down below, we've got a story called Flamer by Mike Curato. And this has been circulating. We added this one, let's see, in September. So we're going to keep the new sticker on there and let our patrons find this still because it's been out in the CW Mars network and it's finally back. So those are our newest young adult graphic novels. So here we are at the juvenile audio section. These are CDs that go out and circulate. So these are CD books. We've got some newest ones. Serena Says. This was, I think, new last month. If you remember the story, Mr. Popper's Penguins, this was inspired by that, the Popper Penguin Rescue. The James Cameron Dog Diaries book on audio. So this one is Curse of the Mystery Mutt, and he's written many of these. And then and we'll just take a look at these covers. So, this looks like a fantasy story. Maybe another fantasy story. This is when we have the preteen novel in our collection as well, by Gary D. Schmidt. Just going to show you these covers. This is a nonfiction one, so we don't have a huge juvenile nonfiction collection, so we usually just put a nonfiction sticker on them rather than a call number, but this is a nonfiction one, and we do try to add some of those. This is Mars Patel. We do have this in our preteen collection as well as a book. And Cinders and Sparrows. All right, so not many of these go out often lately, but if you're like me and you like audiobooks, you can get them through our digital app, Libby. It's a great way to download an ebook and just have it on your device. I do mine on my iPhone, so a lot of times if I'm working and there's no one here at the library, I might have an audiobook going in the background, or if I have a long car ride, I have those going in my car and I connect it with the auxiliary cord. But audiobooks are a great choice, whether you do them through CD or through our app Libby, and we're always able to give you directions on how to do that. Just give me an email or contact someone at the library here when we're open for business, and they're happy to troubleshoot over the phone, or when we're open for browsing, you can always bring your device in and we can show you how to do it. So as we get ready to open back up to the public, we're starting to get displays put up with new information, new books to browse and look for. So this is our latest display about Dewey, named after Melville Dewey. So there's a little information here about the Dewey Decimal System that people know or may not know a lot about. And we're going to try and update this with a number every week or every other week. So right now we have our sports number, 796, and we've got books all about sports up here. So hopefully you can learn a little bit about how we organize our nonfiction collection and find some books that might interest you along the way. And back here, finally, we've got Rory up on top of our last display. Reading takes you places when you have to stay where you are. And that certainly has been true the past year as we've been going through this pandemic. So up there, we've got Rory, and let's see what he's reading. Get a little closer. Oh my goodness, he's reading a book called Glamour Puss, all about a cat. And this is by Sarah Weeks. So you can always look for a book about cats of some sort up here with Rory and his cubs.